All right, so here we got our shoulder day. All right, it's one of my favorite days of the week. Makes you feel strong, feels good. I would say this is more of like a makeshift day, but it's not here because training shoulders, you really don't need much to get a really good pump. Just some dumbbells. Cables are great, not necessary, but they can help. So I'm starting off with the overhead press here, okay? There's a couple different ways to do this movement here. If you kind of look towards my weight down, I have a little bit of an angle in my elbows. That's generally best, but not always. As I go through this, I kind of also get pretty close to right next to my sides. This does not cause me pain, and I can bring the dumbbells down to my shoulders for that nice full range of motion. So now we're going into our rear delt flies. Okay, now I'm going to show both sides of this one at a time because there's a couple things I want to go over. For one, my arm is staying relatively straight with a slight bend at the elbow. I don't really like locking out the elbow. I think it causes a little too much tension there. That's just me though. Moving through this here, that slight bend there allows me to keep the control still in my rear delt. This movement does target a couple muscles in the back as well. However, our focus as we're kind of building up that mind-body connection, we really want to be thinking about the rear delt doing the work and getting a nice full drive. Also, I'm not throwing my arm behind me. I'm kind of really just coming just past my side there, just very slightly behind me. But other than that, it's just right in there, just about maybe a full 90 degrees, a little bit past as you come over to your chest. Just one of those areas we neglect often. I don't play around with the rear delts. I think it's something that we all need to be hitting just a little bit more. It kind of helps develop that nice good 3D shape that we want as well. Moving to the next one, we got the dumbbell front raises. This is just another standard shoulder builder. You can do this. Some people do this with the palms facing down. The reason why I am not here is because I already did the overhead press where my palms were facing that direction. These aren't exactly wrong or right ways to do these things. I think I mentioned in my arm day video where it's kind of like a little bit of a game of angles as we try to develop our forearm strength. We're kind of getting to some nitty-gritty stuff there. You don't really need to do that too much. Say you like the palm facing down variation, then by all means, you can just run it that way. I just like this way a lot. It works well for me. You see me struggling here. This is a lot of volume for me on shoulders. It's a tough one. Now we are going to be doing the cable lateral raise next. My hand is coming behind me, not in front of me. This is to kind of hit a slightly different portion of the head of the delt. Some people do it in front as well. You'll see that in a future portion of this video here. We do both. However, this one here, you see my body slightly angled, and I'm just getting a nice pull coming right behind myself and firing it back up. Here's another one where we're going to show both arms being worked. This is a very important movement in my opinion because it nails the mid delt here. You can't miss it. Also, we're not flaring our arm up above our head. You're seeing we're making about just past a 90-degree angle here. You don't need to go past that. Big mistake we make, people start throwing them like up and over their heads. We don't need to be doing that. Just keep it nice and tight there. You want to feel that delt squeeze. Just get that nice drive. It's a pretty simple movement. We don't really need to overcomplicate it. Moving into our next motion, we're going to be hitting some face pulls. This is not particularly one of my favorite movements, okay? Not that I think it's bad. Usually when I'm doing this movement though, sometimes I get a little bit more pull in my back than I do in the rear delts. That's okay. It's not a big problem. It's still going to be part of that chain. So we're going to throw it in here. I don't have any specific machines at this gym or anything like that. It's just kind of what I have laying around. So it works, it does its job. It fits well in the routine. Plus it's a pretty easy movement. So going into it pretty fatigued here at the end, it works. It does exactly what it needs to do. To finish up, we are going to have our standing dumbbell lateral raises. So before you saw us with the cable, that was behind us. This is going to be slightly in front of us. Once again, I'm not locking out my arm. I like a little tiny bend in my elbows. It works perfect for me here. I can feel my delt squeezing out. It's right where it needs to be. If I go a little bit too far out, sometimes my traps will get engaged, and that's not what I'm trying to train. Today we're hitting shoulders. That's about going to wrap up the entire day. Give it a try.